This is Andrew for the Chosen Prime with a quick video preview of FansToys FT16 Sovereign, or their take on a Masterpiece sized Galvatron. Here you can see that this figure from FansToys is very massive, even in this pre-production sample. He's 10 inches from the floor here to the top of his head, 10 and a half if you go to the top of the spire here. He has quite a bit of die cast in him overall. He's 1 pound 14 ounces. His chest here's die cast, parts of his legs. And overall, he's just a big, heavy, beefy figure, even in this pre-production sample state. With the figure, you do get the figure. He comes with 2 separate cannons, depending on kind of your preference. He comes with this clear version of his cannon. He also comes with the opaque version of his cannon. It's kind of whatever one you want to use. They both transform for both modes, so you have options there. He does come with an alternate face here. This is a screaming face, and I'll show that off in a little bit. And he also comes with a matrix here, die-cast matrix here on a chain that he can wear around his neck, just like he did in the Transformers movie. So let's go ahead and take a look at some close-up details here for Sovereign. Taking a closer look here at Sovereign, you can see that overall this purple, that's both plastic, metal, and paint, is actually a metallic flaked purple. Very warm looking, very striking in person. It's really just stands out how glossy and how metallic it is overall. And then with all the other details that are called out, like the clear bits of red here in his chest, metallic gray here, bits of silver kind of throughout. You can see that his legs here, this is got a nice bit of silver paint to it, red jewels on the knees. Very nice looking legs here overall, and feet. No hollow parts to speak of. Again, he's very, very heavy, kind of standard FansToys design. As far as articulation, his head can rotate side to side. It also has a hinge in it, so you can look down a little bit as well as upwards. Nice and stiff. The arms are on a soft ratchet, so you can rotate them around. Stronger ratchet inwards and outwards. He does have a bicep swivel that's very stiff, and it's actually separate from this piece that the tank treads are on. So you can rotate the tank tread out of the way independent of moving the arm up here. He does have a double jointed elbow for posability options. His wrist here can rotate. Then it's also got a separate hinge here that lets it move inwards. So you have some different options there. And then again, he's got individually posable fingers, which is very nice. He does have a nice stiff waist ratchet. If we move these little panels out of the way, nice stiff ratchet forwards, backwards, and a nice stiff kind of just rotation joint there. Upper thigh swivel. He does have double jointed knees, which is very nice, nice and stiff, ratcheted. The feet, not only do the toes move, but then there's also a separate hinge to move it downwards as well as to the side, so you can't have him be flat-footed. And just a really nice posable Galvatron here from FansToys. So let's take a look at some posability options for him. And so with the variety of joints here on Sovereign, you can definitely get him into nice detailed aiming poses here. And with that bicep swivel, as well as the way that the tank treads can move out of the way, you can get him to do some nice kind of aiming poses here with this cannon arm, and he holds them pretty securely. Very evocative. You can actually bend the wrist here too if you want to kind of have him have a little bit more dynamic pose with the weapon. He can kneel down, of course. We move everything out of the way. And you can even get some more kind of dynamic action shots with the figure. It's overall really nice. Of course, you can, with the arms here, these pieces can move out in and out of the way, so if you want to have the bicep go a certain way, instead of instead of behind being stuck with this can hide out of the way on either arm and either way you'd want. So really cool design here from FansToys. You're going to get a very posable figure and version of Galvatron here with this toy. Here's Sovereign's alternate face installed. You can see that it's overall kind of grimace here. Uses the same kind of painted eyes that the original face had. And it's just a matter of kind of flipping the head around here, unscrewing the screw in the back, kind of pulling the head apart. It's pretty simple, and then switching out the face. Here's the original face here. So it's nice that they've included these 2 different faces here, depending on how kind of angry and mad you want Sovereign here. So let's go ahead and transform him into his cannon mode. We start this transformation for Sovereign by first removing the cannon from the arm. and then come to the arm here, and we want to rotate just the center bicep part here around so the screws are facing outward like that. And there's a tab and a tab hole on the arm, so we want to lock them together. Make sure the fist is kind of curled up like this, so it's kind of squared off. Come to the tank tread here, it'll angle down, and the hand will fit and slide into that channel. And there's actually a peg here on this on the tank tread part here that actually pegs into a peg hole on the arm. We want to lock that in there, hiding the fist, and then this little panel here on the fist will come around and close in, locking the hand. Do it on the other side. Rotate the biceps so the screws are outward. Lock it. Make sure that this peg hole here is facing backwards. Make sure the hand is curled up. Get the finger like this. Take the tank tread and then lock it all down. Flip this in. Grab each arm and rotate them each 180 so that this piece is facing outward, and you can see that the screws are now on the inside. There's these panels that are underneath each arm, so kind of pull outward or push down, and you can see how this comes out, and this will float down. So just kind of move it down a little bit so you can move these arms out of the way. That'll free up this chest panel, which normally pegs in, to open up and come down. Come to his back. This entire section back here, these pieces actually tab in to this part of the gray here. We want to move them and flip them upwards for now. So unpeg them and rotate them up. This piece here will hinge downwards. There's a little flap here. This will open up. Take the upper part here. We want to lift up so that we can get into this piece here. We want to pull this outward. Can be a bit tricky. We want to pull this outward so it's like this, and there we can see that that's the back of the cannon. Come to the front here, and we can push through the kind of canopy part here. Next, this is interesting part on the arms, is pull down on the arms, and they'll unlock from this piece here, and you see how they hinge outward. This gray part will come down, but there's also a tab here that matches a tab in the torso, and it can be a bit tricky to get it to peg in. You can get it so that it locks in like that. So make sure this piece is out of the way, and pull down the arm, unlocking it from the top. Move this entire piece down, and then again, this is a bit tricky, especially on this arm for me. Get this locked in there. Okay, so we'll come to the back here again, and we want to twist and kind of feed the pieces here on the inside so the head can rotate inwards, like so. Grab the torso and lift up, and you can see how this unpegs from there, and bring it backwards. Come to these pieces up here, and we want to rotate them so that they are at the side. So we want to have them so they rotate around while also keeping kind of the spire straight up. So kind of situated like this. Fold it all backwards, and then there's these little panels here that were inside the torso. And if we look, there's this peg here that kind of matches a slot here in the gray piece. We want to kind of angle this piece here at this hinge so that we can kind of feed it into that space. And I will note that these are a bit tricky to kind of pull out when you transform back into robot mode, so just be aware you may need a tool to get these out, but you want them to sit flush like that. This piece will sit flush, and then you notice there's a peg that matches into the back of this piece from the spire here. I'll lock it in. We want to take the this piece here that was the back of the kind of cannon, flip this piece around, and it'll peg back in to the Galvatron's robot back. And you gotta make sure that it's all lined up correctly, and it'll fit back in there. This piece will fold up, kind of filling the space. And we want to rotate the cannon part so that we see its legs, this chest piece as well as the cannon piece here. So we'll move to the legs. The toes, we want to take them, rotate them and then fit them into the base on each side. So just rotate and fit them in. The legs will separate where there's a panel essentially here. If you lift up, there's multiple panels here, this one as well as this one. We want to rotate this piece outward, and normally you would keep it up this way to kind of, what it does is it keeps this hinge here. If you notice, there's a hinge that can slide down here. So slide that all out and then open this up. Now we want to take this knee ratchet and kind of collapse the leg inside of it. And there are two ratcheted joints here, and this one can be a bit stiff, but you want to collapse it fully. Again, there's this ratchet here that's a bit tricky to kind of get bent back, but this leg will fully situate into the leg here with the this piece kind of just sitting like that. And so we'll come to the other leg. Again, we'll go ahead and open this up, open up this panel, open up that, flip out this little piece, rotate it out of the way, flip the panel out, and then you can see there's that kind of sliding joint here. We want to slide that over, and now we'll go ahead and ratchet the knee inwards like so. And now what we'll do is with this piece upwards, we will close this over and it'll kind of close in onto it. And then this piece here will kind of bend in at a weird little angle like this. So it'll essentially look like this into the leg. And it can be a bit of work to get this to collapse down onto itself, but it will fit around the leg if we get everything kind of lined up correctly. Mostly it seems like it needs to be all the way down, like this hinge here needs to be all the way down in order for it to kind of collapse. And at least it'll fill up this side. So again, make sure that this panel here is fully down. Have it come in, then this. And we're mostly where to go. Once you get to this part, we want to go ahead and split the legs again and feed this piece here up through the middle of the legs. And you can see there's a channel here that matches, and you just got to make sure that you go square with it. So make sure you come up straight through the center and then sandwich the legs around it. And there are actually 2 tabs here and here that'll match these pieces on the black, and then this center one will also match in like so, and it'll kind of sit flush like this. So it's a matter of just kind of getting these black pieces, just kind of push and locking this in, and that essentially is the foot. These pieces here that are on the side, we want to rotate them and flip them to the side just to kind of add a little bit more detail. Come to the front here, make sure the legs are all pegged together. These panels here will flip up. And now we want to take the torso here, and if we look, there are tabs here that match these spaces we just opened up. So it's a matter of just kind of hinging the torso and make sure that this piece is pegged in correctly, and then coming over here and making sure that the purple parts here peg in onto the legs. Everything on this figure really locks in together very well. These pieces here that were his hip skirts, they will sandwich down and peg into the sides on both sides. And then these pieces here will sandwich down, and they are tabs that not only peg them into the kind of hip skirts here, this little piece here will actually peg into the torso if we kind of get it lined up correctly. And do it on the other side. Again, this little tab matches a tab hole on the torso once we get that angled correctly. We come back to this chest panel here, and if you look, there's a double hinge here. We just want to hinge it so that it's kind of pushed forward, and so that these 2 tabs here match into the chest, locking that into place. These little flaps here will pull out, rotate, and just kind of sit flat against the body like that. On both sides, the arms kind of just angle down. The treads themselves, because of that hand joint, can have like almost ankle articulation in a way, and so we'll mess with those in a little minute. Take the spire here, rotate it, and there's this core bot ready to go. And so we take one of the cannons and we open up a panel here, and there's also another panel here, and rotate this around, hiding the main cannon parts, and close back down on both sides. And it's actually keyed here to peg into the front of the cannon here. And here is Sovereign in his kind of cannon mode. Very evocative of G1 Galvatron, very clean overall. He actually does have rolling wheels on his treads as well as on this kind of tail kind of stabilization part. Very nice. You do have options as far as the arm articulation here, to how high you want the kind of cannon to be. You can kind of move it and kind of pose him pointing kind of as high as you like. Same thing with the tail here. You have different options with the tail. As far as the alternate cannon, we'll go ahead and switch out real quick. We'll show you the solid cannon. Same transformation. It's nice that they gave us both options for the cannon here. And here he is with the solid cannon. Very, very nice. Kind of almost the best Galvatron we've kind of seen so far. Great effort here from FansToys. So let's go ahead and take a look at some comparisons for this guy. Comparing Sovereign with an official Masterpiece figure, here we got Masterpiece Ultra Magnus. You can see that overall their general scale is the same. Their heads are kind of the same scale. Of course, Ultra Magnus is always going to be larger overall. But you can see as kind of foes here between the two, you can see the Galvatron is a nice scale as a leader of the new Decepticons. And a brief alternate mode comparison here between Ultra Magnus and Sovereign. Nice big Masterpiece sized figures. Even though they were never really rivals, you can see here how Sovereign scales up to Masterpiece MP10, which is kind of a golden standard for height and size. And you can see that Sovereign hits that mark pretty well to be a nice leader of the Decepticons kind of scale here next to Prime. And alternate mode comparison to show you the overall size here of Sovereign in his cannon mode. Very large, but still very impressive and very evocative of the Masterpiece line. Comparing Sovereign here with some other Masterpiece Decepticons from the Transformers movie. Here we've got X-Transbots Elagos, or their Cyclonus, and we've got Andrus from X-Transbots, which is their Scourge. You can see that all three of these kind of are a nice similar scale. Cyclonus is only slightly taller than Sovereign, and then Sovereign here is taller than Andrus. But you can see stylistically, as a trio of those movie Decepticons, you can see that they look good side by side, kind of independent of which company you decide to buy these figures from. And Sovereign here definitely looks like an amazing Galvatron amongst these other Decepticons. And here's a brief comparison of their alternate modes. You can see how they all kind of roughly scale to the same size. They look good, you know, side by side as a trio, even though they are from different companies. But I think here you can see that Sovereign for sure looks like a good Masterpiece Galvatron next to these other X-Transbots figures. Some final thoughts here on FansToys FT16 Sovereign, or their take on a Masterpiece Galvatron. FansToys keeps improving with every single one of their releases, and Sovereign here is really no different. This is the best FansToys piece I've had hands-on with yet. The build is solid, the design is solid, he pegs together in both modes very well. His posability is kind of where you would want it to be. It's just perfect as far as your options. This purple, whether it's plastic, paint, or just metal, is really striking in person. How it's so glittery and glossy. It's just a kind of a perfect color for what I would hope a Masterpiece Galvatron would be. So Sovereign here is up for order at the Chosen Prime. We hope to get the pre-order shipped out sometime in December. If you want to add this Galvatron to your Masterpiece Decepticon collection, he does come highly recommended. This is an excellent toy from FansToys, so take care.